All right, everyone. It's been a long time since I talked about a pay per view event recently just happening and talking about a certain match of it since I stopped doing the long show reviews because I got tired with them. But I knew I wanted to talk about this particular match, The Fiend Bray Wyatt versus the American Dragon Daniel Bryan, and possibly the most brilliant part of the Revenge Saga storyline, as I like to call it, since every feud Bray Wyatt has had since he started The Fiend in Firefly Funhouse has been with a person he has an established history with. And this was started all the way back after Crown Jewel, because that had to happen instead of Hell in a Cell, but sadly we don't get what we want on that. But yeah, so Bray Wyatt finally went after Daniel Bryan, and everyone knew what he was going after for since they started realizing that, oh wait, the whole storyline is just one giant revenge scheme because Bray Wyatt is going after people who've wronged him in his stories, who've wronged him in his past history as the previous Bray Wyatt Eater of Worlds character, and Bray Wyatt would establish that yes, this is indeed fact by posting on Twitter. Yeah, it's kind of weird when you think about it, but anyways, uh, that yeah, he labels Bryan as a Judas, saying it's Chapter 3, Judas. And when you think about it, Finn Balor was Chapter 1, Seth Rollins was Chapter 2, Chapter 3 is Daniel Bryan, Judas. I wonder what the other two chapters were called. Demon, Thief. Yeah, probably. So yeah, and then Bryan would lose to the Fiend at Survivor Series. I didn't watch that show. I was out of town that week, and a lot of people were saying like this match was okay, but I expect a much better match later down the road if they do it. Then Bray Wyatt would tear apart Daniel Bryan's hair and scalp it basically, and he would disappear for a couple of weeks as he would go on to feud with Chapter 4, Hollywood, with The Miz. Another person he actually has a history with, because originally they did have some interactions back in Bray Wyatt's early run with the Wyatt family when and Bray Wyatt were supposed to feud. However, Bray Wyatt got injured and then they had to scrap the feud. But they did have a post-attack angle where Bray Wyatt basically chains up Miz and puts out Liar on his chest. And as you can see, we all know who won that match. Um, and Bray Wyatt would stalk the Miz's family, and this led to some interesting routes they went with it, like the creepy doll in Miz's actual daughter's room, um, the stalking, the darkness, and Bray Wyatt doing it all as the Firefly Funhouse gimmick instead of the Fiend. Probably because the Fiend doesn't see Miz as a big threat, doesn't see Miz as a big deal because they didn't have much of a big history. But yeah, that like I like these little details that the Miz is so insignificant to Bray Wyatt that it's the Funhouse version that wrestles him in the story in the context of the story. And after Bray Wyatt would defeat the Miz in a storytelling match, they start to give this hint that Bray Wyatt and the Fiend are two separate entities, even though that would probably raise a lot of questions because we can't do another Undertaker versus Undertaker match unless someone actually does do the idea of have Bo Dallas suddenly gain a ton of weight and look like him, but I don't think that's gonna work. Like the only reason the Undertaker gimmick worked for the most part is because you literally had two guys who were built the exact same. You can't just make someone built up like that. But yeah, so Bryan would return now decked in his 2010 look. Yeah, the funny thing people started making is that for some reason everyone did the 10-year challenge thing on Twitter, and people were just hilariously finding that Daniel Bryan's looking what he looked like 10 years ago. So like we got the American Dragon Daniel Bryan, and I was like, oh, American Dragon versus the Fiend. That's a match that like put it on the poster. That's gonna sell. Despite it being the Royal Rumble, but still. So we get to this matchup where Bryan challenges Bray Wyatt, the Fiend, to a strap match, saying that that the Fiend can disappear. So the only way to stop it is to basically lock arms with him, pretty much. So he announces a strap match. Now, personally, I would have preferred it to be a chain match because I'm just that much of a sick fuck, aren't I? Probably because I saw Kane and Triple H's match and we saw how bloody that feud was when he was the two-man power trip. But yeah, it actually would have made more sense if I probably get why they didn't want to do a chains match, but still, it would have been interesting if they did a chains match between Bray Wyatt and Seth and Daniel Bryan, and Bray Wyatt continues to prove he's still the best storyteller in the WWE and probably still in professional wrestling, which is why I've lately been interested in the idea of, hey, what if we did Cody Rhodes from AEW to take on The Fiend and Bray Wyatt? Imagine not only the promos, but the storytelling in the match. It probably wouldn't be the greatest match of all time. Like, you probably got Okada and Omega fighting for that position. But, or Ricky Steamboat and Ric Flair. But yeah, you got this. You got the storytelling to it, but yeah, that's a completely different dream match scenario you can go with if that was to ever happen. But given certain circumstances, probably never will happen unless AEW or WWE were to work together or go out, or one goes out of business, or Bray Wyatt leaves. I can see that, but right now Bray Wyatt's content with being a WWE guy. So then it would lead to this contract signing, and I was actually kind of interested in it, mostly because we all knew where it was going, where someone's going to get beaten down. But I was kind of interested to see how would they take this. Bray Wyatt as the Firefly Funhouse, or would they go with the Fiend route? And if they went with the Fiend route, that would be very predictable. But at the same time, you got Bray Wyatt's probably gonna try and do something crazy to like spice it up a bit. The Fiend Bray Wyatt jokes around, trying to fax machine the contract only for it to break repeatedly. And then he does this little detail I love. He does this. He calls tech support and he says English or ancient Sumerian, and I was like, what? Like, I know everyone loves the broken Roken persona of Matt Hardy and think it's a very deep character, but come on. Come on. Even Bray Wyatt would, like, Bray Wyatt bragged about this on Twitter saying there would have been no Broken had there been no Wyatt for the most part. And let's be real, with all this established 6 years worth of continuity being used in this revenge saga, I gotta give the tip to Bray Wyatt on that. Like, the Woken Broken gimmick has more interest. Like, here's the thing that the Woken Broken thing does more interesting. The Ultimate Deletion, Final Deletion, all the deletion segments. They have multiple partying characters. They have Matt Hardy and do these skits at his house. And just insanity ensues. Like, it just embraces what wrestling is for a lot of people. Just fun over the topness that actually works. Whereas Bray Wyatt is more of the dark religious idea with religious iconography, much to the annoyance of certain religious people who go ahead and get offended for it, even though they can just not watch it. But, you know, we gotta find something about that. But, yeah, so Bray Wyatt comes on and says, "You're fighting the Fiend," and whatnot. And the Fiend shows up, beats down Daniel Bryan, and proceeds to lash him multiple times with the strap, leading to people joking, saying, "Oh, come on, you're always spoiling what MJF's going to do to Cody." And you get these multiple bruises and welts, and it's just visually cringing for everyone. And then Bray Wyatt, I don't know if he did this legitimately or there was a blood pack underneath the glove to make the effect, but he then goes ahead and he sits down, which I was confused about, grabs the pen, looks at it, places his hand down, and proceeds to violently stab his hand 2 times, I think, and proceeds to handprint his hand onto the contract. And I was like, oh god, like I know they can never do, and I didn't think they would show the actual blood image, because I was like, they don't have the balls anymore to do that. Like, if they really were interested in doing it, they would have Bray Wyatt cut open Bryan's forehead, pour blood into the pen, and write it down and sign it in Bryan's name, in Bryan's blood. Sign his name in Bryan's blood, like the Undertaker did to Stone Cold back in '99 for their first blood match, which was still a cool visual. But back to this. So then we get to the match, and everyone said this on Twitter. I was thinking it. This was possibly the best strap match I probably ever seen. And they mentioned how they haven't had a strap match in over a decade. And I was like, wait, when was the last time we had a strap match in WWE or anything that relates to a strap match? Well, it clearly was either 2010 or was it the Four Corners match that thinking of between CM Punk and Umaga, but that could be wrong. I don't know. So they go ahead and just. Here's the other small but very important detail. This match was not only going to happen at the Royal Rumble, but it was going to happen tonight at January 24th, 2020. But then you come to the realization, wait, there's something about that date. And then you remember, oh my god, this is the 6 year in the making build-up if you think about it. Because 6 years ago, Bray Wyatt had a match with Daniel Bryan and defeated him. And I love how Bray Wyatt acknowledged that, yeah, I'm this. And then during the build-up, Bray Wyatt goes ahead and has a moment of glimpsing at this moment where Bray Wyatt, when he says to Bryan, "You betrayed me," some people point out that his voice seems to fluctuate when he goes to the betray part, like a glimpse of the old Bray Wyatt, the eater of worlds, the leader, the patriarch of the Wyatt family, was lurking in there. Like, this is like, now you have 3 faces of Wyatt, unless you want to add Husky Harris as the 4th face, because Bray Wyatt did say on Twitter, until he deleted it years later, that Bray Wyatt said on Twitter, I believe this, like, when someone asked him what happened to the guy with the tank engine, he says, he needed me, I needed a body, implying that Bray Wyatt is a demonic spirit, but that's a different matter. So basically, that's the only known retcon I believe Bray Wyatt has ever done, where he adds that his character, Husky Harris still exists, it's just I'm controlling him. Yeah. Anyways, going back from our demonic talks about how Bray Wyatt is possibly the best thing going on in WWE right now and trying his damnedest to not break his back. Yeah, so we get to this match, and I knew it was going to be awesome. 6-year build-up, basically, to this rematch at the Royal Rumble. This time for the Universal title. First time was just a revenge match for Bray Wyatt and his Hello World moment. And then he would get buried by Cena months later, unfortunately. But luckily, we still had the Shield Wyatt match when they were in their prime. So, that's a good thing, at least. But, so, yeah, this match was brutal. This was the most brutalizing strap match I've seen since most likely I saw Triple H and Kane at Judgment Day, and I watched that on DVD. Oh, I could be definitely wrong, but yeah, that's from my experience. And that was a chain match. And Bray Wyatt just tore it with Bryan, made him, like, less than 5 minutes into the match, he already tears into Bryan's skin. He tears into it. He's lashing him repeatedly. Bryan's making the comeback. Like, this was possibly the most realistic matchup where Bryan could realistically defeat The Fiend, even though I don't want that, because I want to see this at SummerSlam where Bray Wyatt loses the Universal title. I want him to win at WrestleMania. Sue me. He's been screwed enough already. He shouldn't have lost to Randy Orton. Hell, he shouldn't have lost to John Cena or Undertaker for the most part, if you really want to build him up as the next big thing. And it took him over nearly 10 years to try and fix his character. 6 years to be exact. So yeah, and nearly got destroyed again by Seth Rollins' incompetence. Because how the hell do you get DQ'd instead of hell in a freaking cell? But that's beside the point of bad memories that were later justified and rectified. Hopefully. But yeah. So, and once again, Bray Wyatt's character work is absolutely phenomenal. Yes, I know I'm gushing about Bray Wyatt's character work. Sue me. Hey, I need this. You've been watching WWE and during the 2010s, you had to deal with Vince trying to make it so obvious, make it blunt, not have any subtlety or tiny details to make something stand out, make it more unique. I need this. I need a good story. So when fans are screaming at Bray Wyatt, yowie, wowie, Bray Wyatt just looks at them and does this gruddle monster noise. Like when one fan yells out to him in the crowd saying, yowie, wowie, he just snaps his head to him and just growls like he's reacting. I was like, tiny details. Oh God, how I miss this in WWE. I miss this. So yeah, and Daniel Bryan, oh God, he had a freaking awesome match with Bray Wyatt. Like, they had such great chemistry in the ring. This was Bray Wyatt's best match since he entered the Fiend persona and the Firefly Funhouse run. Like, I'm not saying all of his matches after he came back with this gimmick was bad. It's more like it wasn't going to be like the Kenny Omegas or the Young Bucks of the world. It was, or hell, even the Daniel Bryans of the world or the AJ Styles. It was all storytelling based, and I love every minute of it. Like, every story he's had, every storyline match he's had all connects with the revenge saga I crafted in my mind of how Bray Wyatt envisioned this. Probably I could be heavily wrong, and this is just convenience, but the way Bray Wyatt's been portraying it sounds like he like let's do this storyline, Vince, where I go after every single person you threw at me and screwed me over. Let me do that. Let's do that. Let's do this. Just give me the money. Like you know how much money I'm making for you. Let's do it. So yeah, in fact, when they did that segment where Devil Vince Doll goes ahead and yells at Bray Wyatt, say, "Or your," and Bray Wyatt shows him money. I was like, I kind of wanted blood on it just to emphasize on Vince's love for blood money now. My God, that was still stupid. And now, given what happened recently in the current events, I'm surprised they're still doing it. Well, not really. So Daniel Bryan and Bray Wyatt tore the house down. In my opinion, this was the best match of the night, with the second match being the Raw Women's title match. I'll get to that when I can later this week, hopefully. Maybe earliest as soon as possible. But, and because I also have something planned for Tuesday, hopefully. But anyways, so Bray Wyatt and Daniel Bryan, they prove that they can tear the house down together. I kind of do wish they would do a WrestleMania match one day in the future if they ever want to revisit their past. And there is this, I said this on Twitter and I made a clip. I'll show it to you if I'm able to with the editing, but I'm pretty sure I won't be able to succeed on that. So really think of it what you will. But there's this small subtlety, I like to think. I said this, I'm probably overreaching, when Daniel Bryan puts Bray Wyatt in the label lock with the strap and Bray Wyatt gets out of it. I noticed how from a certain camera angle and how they did it, it just reminded me so much of a certain moment in 2015 where another wrestler powered out of the yes lock and rapidly punched him 10 times. Like, I was thinking, like, is this like a subtle tease at what's to come probably later down the road or into WrestleMania? If so, I'll take it. Like, so long as Bray Wyatt wins and puts him down, I'll be alright with it. So, anyways, at the 19 minutes and 40-second mark, I'll post the clip and split the clip up and put it in there. So, yeah. There you go. So this was phenomenal, and I apologize if the clip is silent because that was when I was recording it. The silent mode just kicked in, and I was too late to fix it. But yeah. So when I saw so when this happens, every time Bryan got a moment, he keeps getting decimated. And Bryan resorts to his heel run when he kept kicking Styles in the balls because of course, and Bryan uses that, DDTs him on the table, which is kind of scary when you think about it because when the table breaks, that means that the fall has been broken. But when it doesn't break, the impact of that pain really rushes through you. So, ouch. Let's hope that mask was enough protection. And here's the thing I'm gonna say. I can't believe I'm gonna say this, but there's a moment where Michael Cole actually was pretty good on commentary. Yes, I know, I've caused the apocalypse. We're all gonna die. We're already at 100 seconds of midnight. Might as well just kill it for us. But Michael Cole, when Bray Wyatt stares at him with the mask on, with the Fiend mask on, he just says, "Get the hell away from here!" Like he was genuinely afraid. It reminds me of when it was mentioned that when Heath Ledger first showed up as the Joker makeup in the Joker makeup during the setting of Dark Knight. I believe if someone mentioned this that the actor who plays Alfred Pennyworth actually legitimately freaked out seeing Heath Ledger in that Joker makeup, and I was like, okay, yeah, you got that. So, yeah, I was probably overreaching on that, but yeah, Bray Wyatt and Daniel Bryan were tearing it down. They got a lot of time to work with this match. Bray Wyatt then delivers the best Sister Abigail I ever saw, and in midair, so that was freaking phenomenal. No pun intended. And Bryan kicks out. He kicked out the Sister Abigail, much like how Bray Wyatt kicked out of the running knee and broke the label lock, even with a strap around his face. But yeah. So then we cut to, and then this match continues. Bray Wyatt has to put the mandible claws that he's inherited from Mick Foley after beating him down. Foley is having all these injuries plague him for the last 10 to 20 years, and he still will put someone over, even if it costs him a leg or extensive nerve damage for the long run. But still. But anyways, they go ahead, and Bray Wyatt puts the mandible claw again. Bryan looks like he's gonna kick out of it, but then Bray Wyatt slams him down while still holding the mandible claw down Bryan's throat. And Bryan not only falls to Bray Wyatt once again, but this time he's still in the mandible claw, but his shoulders are down, and the referee makes the count to 3. And like I said, one of the biggest missed opportunities I had was that I wished Bray Wyatt would bring in the Universal title and just go Naito on it, which would have been freaking awesome. Because at least it made sense for the hurt heel persona attitude with the gloves. Oh, and another great thing about this match, besides everything, was no red lights! There are no red lights! Thank you! Thank you! Even Bray Wyatt admitted in an interview that's the one thing he hated. I believe it was said this. Bryan said it was distracting and annoying, and it took him months to finally convince Vince, yeah, can we not do that? I know you're trying to ruin me, but even that's just stupid. Even that's stupid for you. So now, Bray Wyatt has retained the Universal Championship under the new Fiend persona custom style, which also, someone kept bringing this up when he had it around his neck during his entrance, which was awesome. Every time when it darkened and it just showed his shadow, a lot of people were like, that reminds me of the Akatsuki clothing, where they had these giant collars around their necks. Yeah, I was thinking that too when someone pointed that out. So I couldn't get the visual out of my head. So now Bray Wyatt is most likely heading into WrestleMania as the Universal Champion, and is actually making that title more important than the WWE champion because a certain part-timer likes to be incredibly not wanting to defend it whenever he gets the chance to. But that's a different matter. In fact, I would actually hope if Bray Wyatt goes after Brock Lesnar, it's not for a title. He's just out to finish what he started, slay a god in his eyes, slay a titan, as Bray Wyatt was alluding to during their what could have been their feud. But yeah, anyways. So Bray Wyatt is still Universal Champion. Daniel Bryan staggers up, trying to get into the back on under his own powers, but is struggling, kind of showing that even though Bryan did better than pretty much everyone else who fought against him, he still came out of this mangled and didn't defeat the Fiend. Especially when you got that badass moment where Bryan's doing this, like getting riled up, and then the Fiend is just standing up. And Bryan was like, it's like this. I got this. I can do it. I can do it. I seriously do not got this, do I? And that says a lot. Bryan slapped him once. Bray Wyatt slaps him, and he staggers back. And then Bryan starts slashing at him with the leash, with the strap, and Bray Wyatt just no-sells it and puts him down for good. So this was a fantastic match. Once more proving that Bray Wyatt and Bryan are destined to do this forever. Or at least until Bryan retires, because he says he wishes to retire by at least 2021 or 2022 if his 2-year commitment idea is going to live up to that. But yeah, so yeah, once again, Bryan puts over the next generation of storytelling wrestlers, even when he could still be champion and still run with it. But yeah, it's a pretty fun time for Wyatt. I seriously am hoping he heads to WrestleMania walking in as the Universal Champion, walks out of the Universal Champion. That's my one hope, that after all this build up, he's rightfully earned finally to be given a WrestleMania victory. I don't think I can tolerate it happening again this time, especially in light of how the character persona has become and how ingrained and insatiated it has sprung for fans all around the world who love this storytelling they're giving. So yeah, those were my thoughts on the Royal Rumble 2020. The Fiend Bray Wyatt versus the American Dragon Daniel Bryan in a strap match. This was Neo Reality Entertainment. If you like how I was describing, donate.